Hi everyone, can you hear me? I just want to make sure that you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. I'll just wait a few minutes, 'cause hopefully we'll have some more people join. Can you see me? I can't see myself.
Yeah, we can see you too.
Okay, good. Thank you. I'll just wait a few more minutes, about another minute, in case other people choose to join. Oh, it's nice to see a face, because I sometimes go off track if I can't see people's faces. Oh, two faces, yay. I can't see my own face, unfortunately. Just wait a couple more minutes. I'm pleased that the links are working, so that's good. If at any point in time I freeze or you can't hear me, just put your hand up and let me know. Oh, we'll wait for one more minute. The session is recorded, so I'll be sharing the link to the recording anyway for anyone who was unable to attend today. And there's another session tomorrow as well. Um, so hopefully I should capture everyone. Okay, so I'll kick off. So for those of you who are RMOs joining us in 2026, oh, more people in the lobby, welcome. So this session really essentially is an introduction on to how to apply for leave, not only in your first year of being an RMO, but ongoing. So it really pays to be prepared. And this session really is about helping you to do that moving forward throughout your career. And there's still more people. Maybe I should wait just another minute. Yeah, I will wait a minute. They're all coming in now. Oops, let's go back. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so as mentioned, this session really is about me just talking through best opportunities for you to have leave approved for your 2026 training year and to ensure that you have leave across each run and some really handy hints and tips. So to kick off, a lot of people start in these roles and it may well be the first role that they've worked in. So it's important to note that when you start, your annual leave balance is actually at 0. So a lot of people assume that they get the 6 weeks in advance, but that doesn't happen. So each fortnight you get paid and you probably get 1.25 days per pay period or 2.5 days per month. So it's important to just be mindful that your leave will accrue over the entire 12 months, so from January 2026 through to January 2027. And keep a track of your leave that you've applied for, like what's been approved, what hasn't been, because if it does go above what your entitlement is, it can be paid as leave without pay, which can be a bit of a fright if you've got a whole week of unpaid leave. You're only able to take 5 days leave in advance. So if you work for the first month or so, that would give you enough leave to cover you for a month. If at any point you're unsure, it's really important that you speak with your RMO advisor just to make sure that your leave is going to be paid. Another important note is any annual leave that you take across a weekend or a public holiday, which I'll go into a little bit more detail about, is not deducted. So if you're rostered to a weekend, but you have annual leave that is from Monday to Friday, any leave rostered for that weekend isn't taken off. We only deduct sick leave, still or alternate leave as it's now called, and bereavement leave. So that's really important for you to remember. It might look like, we're going to take 9 days, but actually we don't. It's just the 5 days, Monday to Friday. MEL leave, there is no entitlement as a PGY1. So once you've hit your year 2, you have 5 days available to you. There are some other clauses in your collective agreement. So if there's any confusion, you can refer to that, or again, always talk to the RMO unit because they'll be able to help you. A lot of people apply for the first Monday of a run, not necessarily at PGY1 level because it's the first time that you may have been in a run. And what we need to do there is ensure that you're not rostered to the last weekend of the run. So there is a bit of workarounds for that to make sure that we're all covered for that last weekend. Now I've just got everyone sitting across my presentation, so I'm going to move that. What's also important, if you're an RDA member, in order to break up having big, long stretches of leave, you are entitled to RDOs. But if you take leave that covers your rostered weekend duties, there's no longer an entitlement to the RDOs. So it's really important that when you're booking leave, you're not assuming that you're not working the weekend and you've got Monday, Tuesday off. So you're going to book a flight back or you're returning back to Auckland on an RDO. Because the expectation is that you either take leave across those RDOs or you come in and work them. But a conversation with your advisor should occur prior to that happening. But again, it's really important you just kind of are looking at what leave's been approved and what shifts you're rostered to. So some people do at times forget that. If you have leave across nights, which no one will be working nights for the first wee bit, as a PGY1, but once you are able to work nights, if you take leave across your nights, Again, there's no entitlement to the sleep days because sleep days are post nights. So just be mindful that if you've got leave across your nights, you're expected to either take leave across them as well or come in and work a short day. To aid our relievers experience and for patient continuity, what we're looking at first is full weeks of leave. So having a day here and a day there is actually not very restful for you. So what we try to do is ensure that you have full weeks of leave. So you're getting a big period of leave to rest up. Once rosters are published, we can then go in and look at any single days for things like, you might want to go away for a wedding for a weekend, or it might be your birthday. And nobody actually likes to work their birthday, so it's important that you kind of try and tie in your leave around your birthdays and important events like, your parents' anniversaries or weddings, that kind of thing. So just be mindful of that. Are you all still with me? Yeah, or no, hopefully.
Yes, still here.
Oh, very good. So, leave approval happens with a matrix of considerations. So our RMOs advisors have delegated authority to approve leave on behalf of the service under the following criteria. Just getting my little form working. No more than 2 weeks per house officer per run, which is not to say that can't happen, but as a general rule, we try not to give people more than 2 weeks. If you've got something special on, come and talk to the unit and we can talk to the service on your behalf. Our relief cover must be available. So if you want to take leave, we need to be able to provide your service cover for while you're on leave. So that's one of an important consideration that we take into account. It is a first come, first serve basis, and priority is given to attend courses and special occasions such as weddings, etc. Only 4 weeks prior to roster publication, which I've mentioned, are considered first, and that really is for the reliever's training value and the continuity of care. Once you go into a relief position in the months to come or years to come, you'll realise it's quite hard flitting from service to service. So it's really important that our relievers spend a full week covering you. Only Christmas or New Year's can be approved prior to roster publication. So if you're wanting to take New Year's or Christmas off, the idea would be to choose one or the other before the roster is published to get the best opportunity to get that time off. And then once the rosters are published, we always will relook at that and look at why you want to take more leave. We can't approve the first Monday of a run until we know whether or not you're working the last weekend of the run prior, because you automatically get the abutting weekend, which I will talk about in a minute. Okay, so what happens if there's no relief cover available? This can occur, locum cover is required. However, just so that you are all aware, our RMOs or our locum RMOs most of them are actually currently employed with us. So they work full-time jobs at another district, and they're really only available for after hours cover. So basically what we then need to do is make sure that we can find it, but there is a risk because there's no legal obligation for a locum to work a shift, so they can pull out at the last minute. And the cost of that is the same as additional duties, which is the same for your current RMOs in the DHB, or same as the locum rate. There are few locums, simply because most people want full-time employment, just to be sure, that they have a regular income, but there are a few around. Sorry, my screen's stuck. So in terms of how does it all look, basically all the leave that you'll be entering into the form that you have a link to, we'll enter that on your behalf, and then we run a leave report which tells us who's applied for leave, what day did they actually apply, as in first in, first served, what service they're in, and how long do they want their leave for. That's all then over a period of time, which I'll show you the dates in a moment, is entered into this roster, which kind of looks a little bit like this. So we can determine who needs leave, how many relievers we have, can we actually cover the leave requests. And sometimes we don't know what the roster is going to look like or what your shifts you're rostered to are. We also have a tool which is mainly used by our advisors to say, on my relief roster for Q1, which weeks have I got availability to give a full week of cover? And that just makes it more transparent for you and for us, so we can look and make decisions on, perhaps we can't give you the dates you want, but in these weeks here, we've got 4 weeks of leave. Would you like to take some leave across that period?
Sorry, is that something we can just access at any time, or do we ask access to that?
It's not a live document, but you can ask to look at it at any time. I would strongly suggest that when you start, you spend, let's say that you want to book some leave because you haven't got the dates that you want. You're welcome to come and sit with an advisor and have a look at what the roster looks like. And that way you can see the dates that you want. It's not secret. Everyone can access it, but it's not live at this point. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. So the leave allocation process actually has several steps. We prioritise annual leave and try to distribute leave fairly and evenly. So what we don't want to do is give everybody in medicine leave and have an entire service covered by relievers. We want to smooth out across the services so that not too many people are away at any given time, because it's hard to run a service on people that, they don't know the patients, they work longer hours, and it can be quite disruptive. So that's our first priority. We review the earliest applications, first in, first serve. We basically data sort the report, and it's, who applied first. And we take into account special occasions because they're important, such as weddings, etc., particularly your own. So it's important that if it is an important occasion, that you put that in the notes. We deal with hundreds of applications, and we can't determine what application is for what purpose unless you actually put a note in there. So do that. It's very helpful for you. Once the roster's published, then we can make further decisions, because we can see who's rostered to shifts, what kind of shifts you've got. Does that sit within what we're allowed to roster our relievers to? So there is a lot more decisions that happen after rosters are published. We then build the relief roster. So as soon as the roster's published, the teams actually go through a process where we put all of the approved leave in. We manipulate that roster to make sure it's compliant for our relievers, and then we have a really good view of what leave is left available for you to apply for. We also check if any additional cover is available based on RMO movement. So you might swap to a different service, or not necessarily a different DHB at this stage, but in your later, PGY2 years, you can elect to move to or maybe swap to a different district. And we look at the RMOs who are on approved leave, and rostered RDOs as well. So there's quite a lot of detail involved in ensuring that it's all compliant and not too arduous for people to be working. We also check who hasn't booked leave. Some people don't book leave, so it's really important that we identify, particularly in the first year, that everyone has got something booked, because most people kind of think, oh no, I don't need leave, I'll be fine. But actually, particularly through winter, it's really busy and everybody needs a break. So we do make sure, and then we'll be calling people to say, hey, you've forgotten to book some leave, let's talk, let's book in some dates. Once we've done that, we then review any declined pending relief applications. So even though your leave may have been declined temporarily, it doesn't mean that you'll not get that leave. We just look at that at a later date. If there's no relief cover available, and that does happen sometimes, the RMO advisor will make contact to review alternate dates, or if it's really important, then we'll escalate it to the service manager and see if we can actually give you the leave, but it's not covered by an RMO or an RMO reliever, which does happen often. You do need leave for special occasions, and sometimes the service can actually be down a house officer for that 1 or 2 days. So this is an important one because a lot of people are kind of like, oh, why has that happened? What screen can you guys see? Anything? Can you see?
No screen now, so you might need to reshare.
Okay. It just completely cut off. How odd. Okay.
And you're back. There you go.
Cool. Excellent. Okay, so getting weekends off, and this is a bit of a new one for some people. So when you take leave Monday to Friday, you automatically get the abutting weekend. So the example at the top, you would take the Monday to Friday, and then you get the Saturday, Sunday prior to going on leave, and the Saturday and Sunday after. So you actually get, a considerable chunk of leave for taking 5 days, which is why we suggest it. A full leave after roster publication, it might be that you've got, which is kind of full week leave after roster pub, that one along there. So you take the Monday annual leave, but you get the Friday, Saturday before, and then you've got RDOs on the Thursday, Friday. What you would then need to do is take leave for those as well, or you could elect to work a short day and then have the weekend as well. So really important that this is jumping all over the place, that you read your roster and have a look at when you've got leave. And if you don't understand it, just come and have a chat with us. On the second little snippet below, original roster, where you've taken leave across nights. Let's say if you took the AL on the Monday, you get the Saturday, Sunday night off, and you would work a short day on the Friday. This is probably going to get confusing, but it's okay because we work with this stuff all the time. So you'd work a short day Friday, have the weekend off, and then you can either take leave across your sleep days because they're no longer an entitlement for not having worked the nights, or you come in and work a short day. And that's a conversation that you can have with the advisors as and when that pops up. It can be a bit confusing when you first start and you're not quite sure, how does this work? So don't be afraid to ask. It's better than kind of going, oh, well, I've booked a holiday and I can't even get back into the country at this time. So just let us know. Okay, and then on a public holiday, if you've taken annual leave across the public holiday, which is pre-booked, that's fine, but it's not actually deducted, so you would only get deducted for the Saturday and the Sunday. And I've got more people coming in. That's
Sorry,
okay.
is it just me? I can't see your screen. It might just be me.
Okay, hang on, I'll stop sharing and share again. Okay, what about now? You should see get weekends off if leave taken Monday, Friday.
I can't, but I'll leave and rejoin because it must be a me thing.
Okay, no worries. Okay. Moving along. Now I'm going to click on here just a moment. So to have the highest chance of leave approval, it's really important you apply early. So now is the perfect time. If you know there's dates you need, it's really important you put them in now. And then, oh, here she comes, she's back. Yep. And then, particularly for popular dates, you know, like school holidays or exam periods, get in early. Try and book at least 1 to 2 weeks per quarter. It's so much easier to cancel leave than it is to try and get it. So just put in 1 to 2 weeks, and if you're flexible, please let us know. So, also, when several house officers take leave together, it's important to get in early. You know, a lot of you will have been at med school together or flatted or whatever and want to take a holiday together. You might be in the same service or across multiple services. Try to book those dates in as soon as you can. And a good idea is to request for 2 weeks in a row, especially if there's specific dates that you want during that time. As I mentioned, it's so much easier to cancel unneeded leave than to get leave at late notice. Let your advisor know also if you're flexible, or if the leave is for a special occasion. So if you just think, I just want a break in winter for a week and I might go skiing, but I don't really care about the dates, let us know. But if it's for a special occasion, like I've mentioned before, like your wedding, really important that you let us know up front. Okay. So the processing timeframes, they're starting from now. You can put leave applications in using the link that was sent to you, and we will start putting those in the systems in the coming weeks. Over the next few months, it is quite a long process because there are a lot of RMOs. We will be, hang on, I've got more people joining. Working on specific quarters. So quarters 1 and 2 for you guys will be happening 13 to 26th October, and then we will focus on your quarters 3 and 4 from the 27th to the 9th of October to the 9th of November. So come the 9th of November, you're going to have just after that, you're going to have a really good idea of what's been approved for the year. And it's important that, you know, you might be super lucky and might have gotten over 6 weeks. That sounds ambitious, but it could happen. It's just important you know that you know you can cancel some leave because then it will be more than your 6 week entitlement for the year. The RMO units are here to help. We're, you know, the subject matter experts on how to apply for leave, what your best chances are of getting leave, where the weeks of leave are available. So I would strongly suggest that, you know, when you do start in January next year, take some time to come and visit and sit down and talk through what you have, what you don't have, and what you need. Our role really is to be here to offer you help, advice, support, and guidance. And any questions outside of that, you could always have a look on the Auckland Doctors website. But in order to get the contacts for where you're going and who your advisor is going to be, and they'll be able to help you. So that's pretty much the presentation in a nutshell. I hope it was informative. Does anyone have any questions? I'll put my face back on. There we go. No questions.
Hi,
Great.
thanks for the presentation. I was just
No
wanting to
worries.
confirm, can we apply for leave now?
Yes.
Okay.
So you should have yesterday received an email with a link.
Yeah.
If you haven't, please let us know. I sent you out the invite to this session. So if you don't have it, you can always email. I'm regretting going to say this, but you can always email me to say I don't have the link.
Okay.
Does everyone
Thank
have
you.
the link? You can just do a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Yep. Oh, great. Thanks, Grace.
Hey, sorry, I
Jason.
also had a question.
Sure.
With the 2-week leave per run rule, so is it that if you take more than 2 weeks leave per run, you risk failing the run? Is that
No.
true?
No,
Okay.
well, it's a combination of a lot of things, which is a
Right.
conversation that we would encourage you to have with your pre-voc educational supervisor.
Yeah.
Sometimes, people have to go, they come from overseas, they've got to go visit family. There's no point in flying halfway across the world to spend a day to get on a plane and come back. So there is some flexibility in that.
Mhm.
As a general rule, though, we try not to encourage people to take more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because then what you find yourself is, you have 3 weeks of annual leave, and then you might get sick and you're off for a week, or even worse, you might be off for 2 weeks, and that's when the water tends to get a bit muddy. But there's lots of other conversations that can happen
Yeah.
around that as well. So it's not a hard and fast rule.
Yeah.
It really is kind of to be on the safe side, book yourself
Yeah.
1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. And so, like, say if you were to take about 2 weeks and then get sick for like a couple of days, it's not going to be a massive problem.
No.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
No worries.
Sorry,
question.
I also had a question, Fiona.
Sure.
Just wondering, so basically with in the first 12 months, we accrue 2.5 days per month. Is that right?
That's right.
So say in April, I would have 10 days. Would that be correct?
Correct.
Okay. And if I wanted to take the 10 days, say I applied for like starting Monday until the next Friday,
Yeah.
I would get the 2 weekends immediately before the Monday and after the Friday too. Is that right?
Correct. So you're actually only going to be using 5 days to get 9 days.
Right. Okay. So that would technically be 10 days of annual leave for 14 days off.
Correct.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Correct. And even if you don't have that leave balance, you can take 5 days in advance.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
right.
need to be really mindful that you're not going above that threshold.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And again, we can help you with that. We can calculate whether or not you're going to have enough leave and what will be good. What also happens is payroll contact myself directly and say this person doesn't have enough leave to cover that. I'm going to have to do leave without pay, and we would never just not pay you. There would be a conversation that I would have with you or one of the
Yeah.
team to say we're in this predicament. And then there could be extenuating circumstances, and we could do a whole lot of other stuff and look outside of that. So it's just more of just be careful how much leave you're having, and that knowledge that you don't get this whole 6 weeks as soon as you start. You actually accrue it and earn it across that 12 months.
Yeah. That's clear. Thank you.
Cool. Good question. Thanks, Grace. Does
Hey
anyone
there.
else? Hi, Jason.
I was just wondering if leave can get carried through to following years, or does it just end when like the 12 months is over?
Okay. good question. No, you take your leave with you. So any annual leave or alternate leave, which is the old still leave, that accrues, you take it with you into the next year. It doesn't disappear. It just kind of builds.
Yep.
The only
Okay.
time it's ever only time that it goes is when, if God forbid you resign, and then it gets paid out. But you never lose leave.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Anybody else?
I just had another question, just to confirm, do we have to apply for leave for the weekends, or is like the weekends, like it doesn't count? For example, like I was looking at the table you showed us earlier, and then sometimes they're like annual leave Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So is that 3 days or just one?
So it would be 3 days. So if you know, most people get married on a weekend, or, they have special events, you're going away for your birthday, whatever, and you need that weekend, you would apply for, you can't just apply for the Friday and hope that you get the weekend as part of this process. So if you know it's your birthday, you're going away and you need the weekend off, then you would apply for leave for that full week. Because you won't know what your roster is until roster publication, you don't know if you're working that weekend, if that makes sense. So for special occasions where you're going away and you need the weekend, you would apply Monday to Friday, then you would get the 2 abutting weekends. Once the roster is published, then you can see that you're rostered to a weekend and you need that weekend off. That's a conversation that you would have with your advisor to go, really need this weekend off. Is there any cover available? But if, for example, you were to apply for every Friday, that's not going to happen, because we want to encourage people to take a full week prior to roster publication. And then it becomes, once the roster's out, it really just becomes a conversation around whether or not you can get the leave. But let's say it's your birthday weekend, I would apply for the week, and that way you've got the week.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just a little confused. So
It's okay.
if you apply, say, Monday to Friday, and you get the 2 abutting weekends, those 4 days, like for the weekend, is not counted as annual leave because you get it because it was abutting. Is that right?
Correct.
So you would only take 5 days. But say if you took, say, Monday annual leave, do you get the weekend before, like abutting it as leave too? Or it's
Correct.
only if you correct. So that means that if you take Monday as leave, then the weekend before, like the Saturday and Sunday, those 2 don't count as annual leave. So it's only 1 day.
Correct.
Okay.
So you get the weekend off because you've applied for annual leave, but only 1 day of annual leave is deducted.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
And then with the 2-week maximum rule, is that 10 working days? Or is it 14?
It's the 10.
Okay.
So the weekend's not included.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries. It can be a bit tricky, because it's slightly different from, other employers. So it can be a bit tough to get your head around at first, but that's what we're here for.
Sorry, can I ask one more question on that? I think I've got myself confused now.
All good.
So if you, obviously ideally you do a whole week of leave, but if you did just a Monday, like just 1 day, do you automatically get the preceding weekend to that Monday? And that doesn't count as annual leave.
Correct.
But
So
if
you get deducted the Monday annual leave.
Yeah.
And you get the weekend, the Saturday, Sunday before it off.
Yes.
The issue is, at this point, we are not prioritizing 1 day of leave.
Yeah.
So our priority will be to give you a full week of leave, and once the roster's published, then it becomes a matter of, do we have a reliever to cover your weekend
Mhm.
in order to give you that 1 day of annual leave off?
Yes.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not just because you apply for it doesn't mean you're going to get it, but if you did get it and you were working the weekend, then you would get the weekend off, but only be deducted 1 day of annual leave.
Okay. And does that work the same for if you just take a Friday? Do you? Okay.
Correct.
Cool.
Correct. Yeah. But again, people, you know, if you're taking one Friday, it may not, you may not get it.
Yeah.
You know, might
No.
not get the Friday to get the weekend off of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Helen,
Thank you so much.
no worries.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. Just to confuse you all a little bit more around abutting weekends. So, a couple of stumbling blocks we sometimes get is the abutting weekend only applies to annual leave and medical education leave. It doesn't apply to still. So just be aware of that. And also, in order to be considered a abutting weekend, it has to be a Friday or a Monday. So if you have a public holiday on the Friday and you get the Thursday approved, that does not include the abutting weekend. So those are just some of the stumbling blocks that I've had with my houseys before. So just bear that in mind. And if you've got any questions about a particular instance, then make sure you go and ask your RMO advisor and have a look at the roster together, because although they're quite generic rules, complicated as they may be, there could be reasons why they don't apply in individual instances. So really make sure you're on the same page and you're really clear about what's happening before you make any assumptions. Sorry, leave you to it.
No, that's perfect. Perfect. Shafar.
Hey, I'm so terribly sorry. I know you've explained it. Just wanted, are you able to just one more time, for my understanding, give like a summary of the accrued leave concept? I'm so sorry.
No
I'm struggling.
worries, no worries. Because I tell you what, it's better to do it now than later.
Yeah, true.
So when you start day one, you've got a 0 balance. Over 12 months, you earn your 6 weeks entitlement. So every month, you earn 2.5 days annual leave. So in 2 months, you then have 5, etc., etc., etc. So it all kind of gathers up to, you know, your full 6-week entitlement. You can apply for leave throughout the whole year. So if you apply for leave in December and you want 2 weeks when you start, or now, let's say you're applying now for leave in December, by the time you hit December 2026, you will have enough balance to take that leave. If you're applying in March, you'll have 5 days. But if, say, you've got a 2-week break in March, the district will allow you to go 5 days in advance. Because essentially, as you're working, that then is paid back, so to speak. Am I making sense, or am I
Yes,
just
that
confusing
made
it?
a lot more sense. Yeah, that made a lot
Okay,
more
good.
sense. Thank
That's
you so
good.
much. Appreciate it.
No worries. Vera.
I just wanted to clarify. So, like, there's a lot of public holidays at the start of the year. So that means, can we combine our annual leave with like a stat day?
Absolutely. Provided you have a balance and you've worked the public holiday, you could apply, let's say you could apply for 3 annual leave days and 2 still days
Okay.
to get 5 days off. But as Alan has just mentioned, if you go Monday to Wednesday annual leave, you get the abutting weekend preceding, and then you go Thursday, Friday still. If you were working the weekend, you don't get that weekend off, but you never work 2 weekends in a row anyway. So you would just kind of move stuff around. And again, the advisors would help you.
Okay. Thank you.
I hope I get your name correct. And is it Anarchy?
Annika. So
Annika.
thanks so
Okay.
much.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
no,
So
all
sorry.
good. That's okay. And thanks so much for the presentation. It's really good to hear about all the stuff that a lot of us haven't had to think about before.
No
So
worries.
thanks for your time. I might have got myself confused into a little knot, but about the weekends situation. You mentioned something probably about 10 minutes ago about needing to check the roster and which weekends you're on and which weekends are guaranteed or not, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you remember what I'm referring to, but yeah, how
I
does
think
that
I think
kind
so,
of-
yeah.
Yeah, but then also that you get the abutting weekends of leave that you've got. So is that like guaranteed you get the abutting weekends, or is it you've got to check the roster and negotiate kind of
It's a
thing?
guarantee. So if you have approved leave Monday to Friday,
Yeah.
you're guaranteed the weekend off, regardless of whether or not you're rostered.
Okay. So what was the thing you were saying before about the having to negotiate the weekends or check the roster to make sure you're not missing a weekend kind of thing?
Yeah, so if you, for the purpose of applying for leave now, if you're applying Monday to Friday, automatically get the abutting weekend. Once the roster's published and you can see where you're working, you know, what your shifts are, what weekends you're working, what weekends you're not, the conversation around is, I need this weekend off. Can I have it? And I'll take leave on the Friday to get the abutting weekend. It's at that point, it's about, can we cover it, the advisors cover it?
Yeah.
In order to, you know, to give you that weekend.
Okay, cool. So okay.
Was that the question you were wanting answered?
No.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
that's helpful.
Perfect.
Thank you. Yeah.
No worries.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Okay. Anybody else?
Sorry, me again.
No worries, Jason.
I was just wondering, what kind of leave is paid, what's unpaid, what like how's that whole world work? And
okay. So all leave is paid, provided you have an entitlement. The only leave that's not paid is a leave without pay, and you probably don't want to be thinking about that at this point in the game.
Yeah.
Or where you go beyond your entitlement. So let's say you use all your annual leave or you use all your sick leave. There's conversations around your, the fact that you've exhausted your balance. What are the circumstances? Do we need to have conversations about other types of leave? So there's no hard and fast rules, I guess, about you having leave without pay. We take it, we would sit down and talk through what's happened, what do we need to do to support you. Yeah, and that doesn't have that's kind of an extreme case, which we would have conversations about it and not just be like, oh well, we're not going to pay him. That doesn't happen.
No, that's cool. Thank you very much.
That's okay. Okay. Oh, Asita.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry. Just a question following up on Jafar. So, in terms of the concept of accrued leave, and obviously like first in, first serve, if we were like just hoping to confirm a mid-year break or something, would we be best to do that now or closer to the time when the roster's out?
No. You want to apply now. Definitely now.
Okay.
Always apply throughout your whole medical career. Apply early. I mean, that's probably the key takeaway for this. Regardless of, you start with 0. By the time you reach to mid-year, you're going to have a balance to be able to take that leave. So that I wouldn't even worry about that. So you're wanting to put in 1 to 2 weeks per quarter. So, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, have yourself a break in each of those quarters. Really important in your first year. Particularly, it's new to you, it's quite demanding, and you might think, I'll be fine. And then you get kind of halfway through a run and you're like, oh my God, I'm really tired. particularly through winter. It's busy, the hospitals are busy, so it's really important you take good care of yourself. And, if you get to the end of the year and you don't want the leave, so much easier to say, actually, I don't need the leave. I'll just accrue that and maybe take something extra next year.
Cool. Thank you.
No worries. Okay. Well, it's good to have, okay. No other questions. If there are no other questions, we can wrap up. Thank you so much for coming. I hope it was helpful. Key takeaways, I think, for today is apply early and ask for help if you need it. Super important. Cool. Thanks, Grace. So we'll let you get along, get on with your day. And tell, for all those people that aren't here, tell all your friends about it. I will be sending out this presentation, which I've slightly updated since the last one I sent. So you're welcome to have a read and get together and discuss it. And if you've got questions, please ask. Okay. Oh, Grace, do you have a question?
So one final question. You might have said it
Sure.
at the start, but whereabouts is the RMO unit?
Where are you
Oh,
allocated
sorry.
to?
I didn't know if this was like specific, but I'm at Waitemata next year.
Okay, so at the moment they are on the medical ward, so you would go in the main doors at reception, jump in the lifts on the left, and up to level 3.
Okay, level 3, sure.
Or yeah, it is. I'm pretty sure it's level 3.
Okay, that's all good. Sorry,
I'm at county, so
Oh,
I
okay.
have been to Waitemata, but yeah,
Okay,
this is
I'll
based on
figure it
memory.
out.
Okay, all good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, bye everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool, bye.
Thank you.